we were joking about how, change is constant and certainly in collegiate athletics and sports in general probably, but you're in a new conference and so much change is going on. How are you personally handling this with your program?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're pretty unique in that my first year at Colorado, we were in the Big 12. And then we left and we went to the Pac-12. We're there for 13 years, and now here we are back in the Big 12. So and I played in the Big 8, not to date myself, but so I'm very familiar with this league and the history of it, and it is good to be back.
What is the biggest difference that you've noticed, even though obviously you haven't played a game yet, but from afar, what's been the biggest difference now that you're coming back into this conference?
Yeah, the biggest difference is, no Texas and Oklahoma. Sure. And obviously there's some new teams that are in the league now that weren't in it when we were here 13 years ago. So that's different. And then the biggest difference between the Pac-12, where we were the last 13 years, and the Big 12, having coached in both leagues, is the venues. I mean, the coaches are great in both leagues. The players are great in both leagues. And there's some good venues. There were some good venues in the Pac-12. But the venues in the Big 12 are pretty special. I mean, the fan bases are very rabid. And obviously BYU coming into the league as well brings that fan base with them, as does Utah and Arizona. And Arizona State and Colorado probably we're still in that building phase in terms of our fan base, right. Night in and night out in our arenas. But we've played at BYU in the Marriott Center, and it's going to fit right in with this league.
Well, and this year, Colorado does not come to Provo. BYU does, though, go to Boulder. You mentioned you're still in the process of sort of building that fan base and kind of getting it to where you want it to be. For BYU fans that may be going to that game, what can they expect from a home game in Colorado?
Well, I think, if our students that are there, if our student section shows up, they're really, really good. I mean, and obviously in basketball, there's a period of time over the holidays where the students aren't there. And so depending on when they come, and I've looked at the schedule, but I don't even know when BYU comes. I don't want to know. I'll just take that, as we get closer to league play. But I think, normally we always say the altitude. Sure. Now for BYU, that's not going to be, you guys play at altitude just like we do, so it's not going to be a big difference from that standpoint. But the event center it's a loud environment, and when our fans show up, and they do show up, it's just sometimes it's sporadic. Sure. And depending on the game, but when it's rocking, it's a great place for college basketball. We fit right in this league as well.
I'm sure you've been asked a lot about replacing 3 NBA players, and obviously we in our area are the beneficiary of one of your players, and Cody Williams being with the Utah Jazz. But how did you approach filling those spots of 3 players who are now playing in the league?
Yeah, look, you just don't go out on the recruiting trail and say, we lost 3 NBA players. Let's go recruit 3 new ones. It just
if it were that easy, right?
Yeah, if it were that easy, we all do it. So obviously Cody was our only one and done that we've had at Colorado, certainly since I've been there. And I don't think there's been one even before him. So he was a special, unique talent. The people in Utah are going to love him. He's a wonderful young man, comes from a great family. He's all about the right things. And he's young. He's 19 years old, so he's just going to grow and get better and better and better. So I would say be patient with him. But I would just say, in terms of how we try to replace him, is we did sign 3 graduate transfers through the transfer portal. We tried not to go for younger transfers because we didn't want it to affect our 2025 recruiting, which is a really good class that we've put together and are still in the process of putting together. So, and then we added 3 really good freshmen as well. So we're a recruit and develop program. Right. Cody was an outlier for us. It's usually guys like Tristan Da Silva, been in the program for 4 years, gotten bigger and better every year. KJ Simpson was there for 3 years, got better and better every year. So recruiting young high school talent and developing that talent is something I'm passionate about, our staff's passionate about, and we've done a pretty good job of it.
I've been asking a lot of the coaches the philosophy with the way the NCAA works with transfers, and certainly that has changed the game on many levels. But how do you balance, again, sometimes it's necessity because you need to fill a spot, and so you go that route of a transfer coming in. Sometimes it's an opportunity that presents itself and you can't say no to it. So how do you balance bringing guys in versus, like you said, it being a development program where you get these guys in and you want them to be there? It's probably a fine line on how you do that, right?
It is a very, very much a fine line. And again, we start with high school recruiting. We start with getting young men with families whose value system aligns with our value system. And if our value systems don't align, that player more than likely is going to transfer out. Now, transfers have always been a part of college basketball. It's just with the immediate eligibility, sometimes those young men, they look at that exit sign and say, I'm going to hit it because I know I can go somewhere else and play right away. Versus the way it used to be where, and a lot of people say they had to sit out a year. I say they got to sit out a year. We had a transfer from a Division II school that you may remember. His name was Derek White. Derek White transferred from Division II school to Colorado and got to sit out a year and got to get in the weight room, got to practice every day against Pac-12 level competition. And then he played 1 year and became a first-round draft pick. Without that year of sitting out, mentally, emotionally, physically developing, he's probably not a first-round draft pick. And I think he'd be the first one to tell you that.
And now he's an NBA champion.
Now he's an NBA champion and a gold medal, and had as good a year as a basketball player could have ever had last year.
What do stories like that mean to you? And I don't even mean it from a basketball standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. What do those mean to you?
They mean everything, because you see young men realize their dream. You see them work hard. You see them get overlooked and passed over. You know, and any of us, whether we're professionals in whatever line of work that we're in, we've all been snubbed. We've all been passed over. We've all had adversity hit us. And to see a young man that fights through all that over a 5-year period of time and then realizes his lifelong dream of becoming an NBA player, and then gets traded to the Boston Celtics and has the storybook year that he had, it means everything, because he came from a great family. And again, he's a wonderful young man with tremendous values, and he's somebody that you're proud to have known.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time. And again, I joked, it's cool to have, another Mountain Time Zone team in the conference.
Exactly.
And I think that will work out for all of us.
I hope so. I don't know how many 9 p.m. tips you guys got, but we got 2 of them.
Yeah, so. I'm sure it's all coming for all of us. Coach, thank you so much.
Okay, take care.